Good morning, Tyrone.
Good morning, Gary. Thanks for having me on.
Man, good to have you. I know that brings back some memories. That was the catch of the year, the play of the year for the ESPYs, the Pontiac Game Changing Award of the year. One of the greatest catches that we've ever seen. I know it was all instinct for you, just trying to make that catch, but relive that play. Did you know when you hit the ground that it was a catch? Did you know you had caught the football?
Well, I know. Of course, it was one-on-one. So, Brody gave me an opportunity to at least make the play, and then, of course, I saw the ball coming down the whole time. So it was really just a routine catch for me. I threw my hands up, just like I would if nobody was standing there, and he just happened to be standing in between my arms.
Yeah, it was far from routine for those that watched it, though. An incredible play. That season, and we want to get to your current coaching career. I want to talk about a number of subjects while I've got you, but certainly was bittersweet. You were off to an incredible start that year, that catch on a really good team after having, just kind of average teams in 2003, 2004, 2005. You could see that was going to be a really good football team, and you were a big part of that. And then against Florida, Alabama just came out and played one of the finest, probably the finest game ever under Mike Shula, and you were killing it. First play from Alabama from scrimmage, the long touchdown pass. Didn't you have a punt return in that game that got called back?
I did. I had a punt return. They actually called a clipping penalty on Corey Reed.
And they were wrong, weren't they?
Yeah, and if you go back and look at it, he definitely got a good block on the guy. But nevertheless, it got called back, and everybody else, they set up the blocks, very well, and I was able to return that kick, but unfortunately got called back.
Yeah, it was a bad call. But you were having a great game. Then late in the game, with the game already decided, we know what happened. I've watched that play many times when Brody threw to you down the sideline in the end zone, and your incredible athletic ability probably is the reason that you tore up your knee, because the ball was underthrown a little bit. You put the brakes on. Your leg grabbed, and you actually bent your body backwards, almost caught the football. And I know it's probably a play that you tried to put in the past, but it is part of who you are, and it certainly changed the direction of your life. Again, much like the Southern Miss play, though, you were just trying to make a play. That's what you did. You were being instinctive, but the ball being underthrown a little bit. Really, most receivers, I don't think, could have even come close to catching that football, and you nearly caught it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, it's one of those plays that, if you look at it, if a couple of things go right in that play, then, maybe the accident doesn't happen. But, I'm one of those people where I do believe that, things happen for a reason. And God makes no mistakes. So, it's one of those things, like you said, it was one of the, I call it the best and the worst game of my career. But nevertheless, I went out with a bang.
Yeah, and you have been a perfect example of how you have to deal with things the way they are in life, and not necessarily the way you want them to be all the time. And we'll get to your, how you've moved on in just a moment. First, though, I want to get to the story about how you got to Alabama. Because as you know, I graduated from Cleveland County High School too. I think 21 years before you did, but nonetheless, I had some ties in that area. And Heflin is a beautiful little small town, but it has not had a ton of Division I athletes come from there. There have been a few, but not that many. And your history there. You grew up an Auburn fan, and Auburn had strong ties in Heflin going back to Charles Wood from the mid 1970s when he went to Auburn as an All-State player. Talk about how you wound up at Alabama, because Tommy Tuberville and Auburn, had they recruited you heavily, you probably would have gone to school there, right?
Well, the whole thing with that is my Uncle Charles, he played for Auburn, so of course everybody on my dad's side and a lot of people on my mom's side, were all Auburn fans. So of course that's what I grew up. And how I became an Alabama fan, it's funny. I tell the story, every time somebody asks me this. One of my mom's best friends was a big Alabama fan, and she used to call me her boyfriend. So one day I saw her with a black Alabama sweatsuit on, and when I saw her with that sweatsuit on, that's what made me change to Alabama. I kid you not.
Something that simple.
Something that simple. And then, of course, around that time, Alabama was, had started winning, and they were winning. So, I gradually, continued to be, and then, of course, as time goes on, I've always, I've stayed and continued my, my Alabama ties. So that's really how I became an Alabama fan.
Wow. Glad you told that story. Yeah, because now you're one of the most beloved players in Alabama history. I mean, you're so tied. You're so tied to crimson and white now. You couldn't get away from it if you wanted to. And with that in mind, I want to get to your coaching career, because obviously in the blink of an eye, your future changed. With that knee injury, you were headed to the NFL. There were a lot of people that were wanting to see you get there, but it did not happen. And in fact, for a while, there were just concerns about your ability to walk and so forth. And you've overcome a lot. But the path to get into coaching, tell me about that, because I know initially you did some things in private business and so forth and so on, but you got that opportunity with Mike Shula there at the Carolina Panthers to be a coaching intern for them. Is that really what kind of kicked off your coaching career? Tell me how you got into it.
Well, I've always wanted to get into coaching. Even when I graduated in 2008, the one thing that, of course, I started off trying to get into high school coaching, and the one thing that kind of threw it all off was me not having a teaching certification. There's not many opportunities out there to where you can be a high school coach without having a teaching certification as well. So just knowing that, Coach Shula knew that, and he also invited me when he was at the Jaguars. He invited me up with the Jaguars, and just to kind of to see the whole the NFL side of coaching, and to be around the receivers, and to see learn some things while I was up there. And then also when he was at Carolina, he brought me up for their 3-week mini camp. And, really just to, be around Coach Ricky Pro, who was the receivers coach, and to be around, a lot of the receivers, Ted Ginn and, Funchess, and, a lot of those guys that I were around when I was up there, just to be around those guys and kind of learn and, learn some of the, the ins and outs of the NFL coaching. So, it was an experience just to be back up there with him and just kind of learn some things.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, just an unbelievable opportunity to get to a hands-on opportunity at that level. Last year, you got a job with a powerhouse high school in Spanish Fort. Kind of got your high school coaching career kicked off. I know you enjoyed that, but your family is still here in Tuscaloosa. That's a long haul. So when you got the opportunity to go to Jasper, I know that the athletic director there, Jonathan Jordan, was a manager at Alabama when you were playing. So there was a connection there, and that kind of opened the door for you. But talk about the opportunity to continue coaching but be so much closer to home. I know that's exciting for you.
I mean, and I love the Spanish Fort community, and I love being down there. It was just, going a year, and I didn't expect to go a year without my family being down there with me. But nevertheless, a year goes by, and then my family was still not with me. They were, still here in Tuscaloosa, my wife and my 4-year-old son. So, that was, kind of the straining part. And then, when Jonathan reached out to me about an opportunity to get back here, the first thing that, first thing crosses my mind is that, being closer to my family or being back with my family. So this is an opportunity that I saw, it put me back under the same roof as my family. And we all know that family comes first. So, that was an opportunity that I saw that was best for my family, and I had to take it.
And you're going to get to coach the wide receivers, is that correct?
Correct. I'll be coaching, same as Spanish Fort. I'll be coaching the receivers and the returners.
What about as far as other sports? Do you know your duties there yet as far as your coaching?
I don't know as far as other sports. I know they may have talked about basketball maybe, but I know right now football is what I'll be doing, and then if I'll help out in any other sports if I can.
And you're still working on getting your master's degree, Tyrone, is that correct?
Well, just kind of working on getting that certification.
Still working on that teaching certification. When do you expect to have that?
Say that again?
When do you expect to get that?
Well, hopefully in the next year or two.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go ahead and get it done, knock it out in a year. That way I can go ahead and take care of it. But that's been, like I said, that's been the main thing that's been holding me back was just that teaching certification to be able to coach in high school. So it's one of those things that I'm working toward, and hopefully in a year I'll be able to have that done.
All right, Tyrone Prothro with us. Good conversation there. That conversation will be podcast at tide1029.com. And really just an enjoyable, I still can call him a young man. I mean, he's in his early 30s, and I'm 54. But a guy that, has overcome a lot of adversity and was, as we said, was looking at the NFL square in the face. Some thought that he might even come out after his junior year. And then that gruesome knee injury against Florida changed everything, but boy, he sure made the best of it now, and we really wish him well in his coaching career. All right, we'll be back with more of the Gary Harris Show. Then just, in about 6 or 7 minutes, we'll have Travis Reier, the guru, on. This is the Gary Harris Show on Tide 102.9 and 100.9, your home for Alabama sports. You're off and running now. As you said, you came from a program at Spanish Fort that is, every year, they're going to be good. A lot of tradition in Walker County, but it's been, it's been different, and a lot of people are still trying to have a difficult time saying Jasper High School and the Jasper Vikings, but trying to get that program built up. I mean, it's going to be a challenge for you. I know obviously you're getting to know the other coaches on the staff. You had an opportunity this past Saturday with a football camp to be out there and work with kids and meet the fans and getting to know these other coaches. Talk about that challenge though of getting Jasper High School to where those coaches and those fans and players want to take it.
Well, I mean, it all goes, if you can get the community involved, and once the community gets behind you, it's the challenge. It's always going to be a challenge at any program. So it's just a matter of getting the kids to buy into just getting them to buy in to the program, and then once you get them to buy into the program, it's just kind of getting on how I try to do it is I try to get on the kids' level and try to, speak more realistic, I try to use my story of, me coming up, even in high school all the way up to college and up until my injury. Just try to use, teach them the game of football, but also teach them about the game, the game of life.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing I do know is that football is not forever. So it's you're not guaranteed to play this game tomorrow. You're not guaranteed to play next year, whenever. So what's your backup plan? What do you have planned if football doesn't work out for you? Because less than 1% of guys that make it to college make it to the NFL. So if your dream is to go to NFL, you can't put all your eggs in that one basket. What's your backup plan if that doesn't work for you? So really just trying to teach the guys, teach them about football, but also teach them about life.
And nobody better than you to do that, as you said, because in a moment how your future can change with football. That's very, very true. This thing going on here at Alabama, as I said, when you came here, it was kind of ironic. Franchione had recruited you. Then he left. You wind up signing with Price, and then Price is gone, and you come in, you play for Coach Shula, and in 2005, had a really good team, but 2006 it kind of stepped back, and he's out, and then Saban comes in. I know you were still hoping to play some football even after the knee injury, but talk to me about your relationship with Coach Saban, because I know even though you didn't get to play anymore, he reached out to you and really made you feel part of the program when he first got here. How special was that?
It was special, and just he reached out to me, and he basically when he first got there, he's always had an open door for me. So if I wanted to go meet with him, I can go set up an appointment and meet with him, and it's not a big deal. But since he got there, it's always been an open door. And, just being around the program, it really gave me an option to, if I wanted to be around the program, I could, come to the meetings and, be a part of the program. They basically left that decision up to me. And at the time, it was in 2007. I had one year left. And at the time for me, my main goal was to, finish my degree. And, that was my main goal, was to really buckle down and finish my degree. I knew I had, probably about a year left to finish it. So I really wanted to buckle down and finish on time.
As a Alabama alum and a former player and a coach, what's it like to watch up close and study what Nick Saban has been able to build here? What have you learned from watching this dynasty that he's put together at your school?
Well, it's all, it's all of how he runs the program. It really, the discipline factor. When you got guys that buy into the program and they're disciplined to the program, then, it's bound to have success like he's having. They buy into the program. They know there's a very good opportunity that when you come here, you're going to have a chance to, one, gain a good education, but two, have an opportunity to, to pursue your dream. If your dream is to go to the NFL, you have a very good opportunity to do that by coming here. So, one of the things, why it's so successful is because of the discipline factor. You got great athletes coming here, but they're also, they're disciplined to the program. They're disciplined to what, they buy into what he's teaching them. So that's why they're so successful in what they're doing.
How big a challenge do you think that is as you are embarking on your coaching career, getting kids to buy in these days? It seems like it's tougher than ever before. Kids will question now more than they used to. There's so many more things for them to do. Even in smaller Alabama communities, you don't have to play football to be entertained anymore. How big a challenge do you think that is, and how big a challenge will it be for you as a coach to really get the message across and get young men to buy into what you're selling?
Well, it's all about knowing each individual kid. As a coach, you have to know each individual kid's story. If you're coaching these kids, you have to know their story, and you have to kind of get on their level to kind of really understand where they're coming from. And if you can get on a kid's level and they know you understand, where they're coming from, their background, then kids will buy into you. That's one thing, you can do to help is you have to know each kid's, personality. You have to be able to manage, each different personality, because, not one child is the same. So you have to be able to understand each personality and really get on their level to really understand where they're coming from. And once you do that and the kid gains your trust, then that's how you get kids to buy into you.
Wow.
When they know that you understand where they're coming from, and you can kind of, what's the word I want to say? You understand where they're coming from a lot of the time. So when they know that and they know you're for them and not against them, then, they'll buy into your program.
Yeah, well stated, Tyrone. Wrapping up with Tyrone Prothro here on the Gary Harris Show. Going forward, as you said, your immediate goal is to get your teaching certificate, establish your high school coaching career. I assume if you stay in high school coaching one day, you'd like to be a head coach. Any thoughts, though, as you look ahead to maybe getting back into college coaching at some point? What are your goals for your future?
Well, ultimately, before the end of my career, I do want to make it back up to the college ranks. I do know, this is my second full-time coaching opportunity. So, there's a lot of, I do want to hang around, high school and learn how to coach.
Right.
Of course, I know the game of football, but,
right.
You have to learn how to coach, so to speak. So, just being around the, the high school kids and just learning from other coaches and then learning from experiences that I will experience while I'm coaching high school football. So, it's one of those things where, I want to learn all I can learn, take in everything I can learn, whether it's going up there with, Coach Shula and being on the sideline with him and just watching how they operate, or whether it's being down here or going to coaching clinics, just, really take in everything that I can learn so that, when my opportunity does come to go, make it to the higher ranks, that I'll be prepared and I'll be ready.
Lastly, another former Cleveland County Tiger doing real well in the coaching ranks that played at Alabama, Todd Bates, who's now at Clemson with Dabo Swinney. Do you talk with him often? Is he somebody that you lean on for advice? He's doing very, very well in the coaching business. Do you and him still have a close relationship?
Yeah, me and Todd, we've always had a close relationship, and even throughout the years, we've always called on each other. We've always talked to each other, and anytime I call Todd, he's always there. He always responds. He's always he's a lot more busy now than he used to be, but anytime if he misses a call, he always returns my call. If he can pick up, he picks up. So we always have that relationship, and we'll always have that relationship. Just because of we grew up together, we played high school ball together, played college ball together, and we've always stayed in contact. We have that bond, sort of like that brother bond that we'll always have with each other, just because of just the relationships that we've had growing up. So, I've always, me and Todd always keep in contact with each other. He always checks on me. I always check on him. And that'll always be there.
That's great. Lastly, Saban's won 5 of the last 9 national championships. Alabama trying to make it 6 out of 10. Do you think this team will get it done in 2018?
I think we're definitely in a position to continue the dominance that we've been having. Of course, each Saturday football still has to be played, so you never know. We're going to get everybody's best on each Saturday, each weekend. So of course, we definitely have to be on our game, but I definitely think we have the talent and we have what it takes to continue what we're doing. Like I said, of course, the game still has to be played.
Tyrone, so good to catch up with you. We're looking forward to a new edition of Friday Night Lights coming up this fall with you. I don't know if you'll be in the press box or you'll be on the sidelines, but you'll be coaching for the Jasper Vikings. And I know a lot of people here in Tuscaloosa are really, really happy for you and glad that you're closer to home. Thanks so much, my friend.
Thanks for having me.